It's an incredible race today. I don't even know where I should start from because it was a mixed podium yesterday. Today we have a crazy podium, so to say. And I was saying it yesterday that possibly there will be a different podium with Mercedes, the two Mercedes yesterday when I was making podcast recording for yesterday. And that was it. My name is Oshife Soluadam Larry. I'm a mechanic. Welcome to Exxon F1, also known as from Lawon, Colombo, Africa. So here we go. Let me start with telling you that I said it yesterday. The Ferraris, they don't have the race pace. They have a singular pace. McLaren, no race pace, singular pace. Aston Martin, I don't know where they lost their own pace. Maybe they've used their pace to drink Gary and Ekpa. I don't understand because they've had a decent race pace in the first 3-4 races of the season. At least Alonso sometimes could keep the Mercedes at bay. They can keep the Ferraris in their own space, like give Ferrari Jokoje tablets, But recently, since Monaco, they've really struggled for race pace, but not so obvious in Monaco that people could see. But if you look at how Max Verstappen was able to turn it up on Alonso, it was unlike Alonso because they have a good straight line speed and the fast corners is also what they enjoy most. So what happened to them? Well, I don't know, but sincerely, looking at the way Mercedes performed yesterday, I already knew these guys, maybe they've gotten something from their upgrade. They've gotten a little bit from their upgrade and they need to work on. If you look at when the Alpines brought their upgrade, they struggled a little. They were able to get some G's out of it, but people didn't really know. Until the third race, we started noticing that Alpine are becoming consistent. Until today, they've gotten their consistency shirt and they are pulling something out of it. So that might be Mercedes' case. It might take them 3, 4, 5 races for them to really get a hands-on the handful W14 upgrade for us to see what they can do with it, because at the point Max Verstappen was just on his own. This is a Red Bull team that has led 401 laps. Other teams leading, I think, just 19, and Max has led over 200 of those laps. Jesus, this is funny. As in, so the rest of the field are sharing same lap. Oh God. I don't know how to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't know how to laugh. I'm sorry. This is just something else. Just marvelously something else. This is a race in which Hamilton was able to come up with second place and come out with the driver of the day. Let's start from the beginning of the race. I said if Hamilton can pick on Lando Norris in the first turning, then he might be able to challenge Carlos Sainz. And so he did. He was able to pick on Lando Norris' McLaren, but they had a collision which affected Lando Norris's car and relegated him to the position he ended in the race. He really struggled later. But the beauty of it was George Russell coming from 12th, third on the podium. George Russell too started with issues trying to overtake 2 cars on the first turn. He ran off into the extra racing area. Coming out, he was able to take 2 to 3 cars behind him, and from there started his race, and that was it. He was not penalized for it because he was able to keep his car. If he had tried car into that turn, he would have lost his car, and that would be the end of his race. So I think that was why the officials did not penalize and allowed him through that, and he didn't really gain much because towards the end of the race, that same happened to Magnussen. He had to go through the escape route and came out, and he didn't gain anything on Nick De Vries. So I think it was a nice racing decision that was allowed today, but clearly the Red Bull are still dominant. They ended the race like 23 seconds ahead. There was nothing the Mercedes could do to chase them down. After their second pit stop, there was nothing they could do. Verstappen was about 16-17 seconds ahead of Hamilton with a tire 5 laps younger than Hamilton. So why stress yourself? Why chase or hunt down when you know you are going to waste a lot of rubbers? And by the time you get close to him, you stretch the gap again. So they had nothing to lose. They only have a lot to learn with the data they are able to gather today. I think that's what happened. So they didn't even stress. They were just enjoying themselves, and they were able to keep Sergio Perez behind them. The 2 Mercedes were able to keep Sergio Perez behind them. That was the good thing they were able to do. A lot of incidents in turn 1, but none of those incidents was able to bring out a yellow flag, a red flag, nor retire any driver. Charles Leclerc changed his gearbox and started 19th. Also, the 19th he started was from the pit lane because he changed the gearbox and some part of the suspension, the rear suspension of the car, because he was unable to generate the right heat into all the tires. It was generating more heat into one tire than the other, and that still had effect on him today. That effect on his race. All through the race, he was struggling all through the race. Charles Leclerc started 19th from the pit lane alongside Logan Sargent that started 20th. He never had a decent pace throughout the race, and that was a big struggle for him. I think Ferrari still have a lot of work to do. There is a lot of pace in that car. There is a lot of decent pace in that car, but they are not getting the best out of their car. They are not setting up their car in the right way. They've brought the Red Bull version of their car, and yet they cannot get the consistency they need. On a single pace lap, they are good. On long runs, they are nowhere. The tires degradation is still a big factor. It has a whole lot of effect on the Ferrari's race, and that putting them behind Alpines, because if Alpines get their mojo well and this Ferrari are still struggling, I am sure Alpine might go ahead of Ferrari before the end of the season. I'm telling you, Alpines might go out to take a position from Ferrari before the end of the season. This race for Mercedes to come from third in the Constructors' Championship to come second today, giving the Aston Martin team an 18 point difference at the end of the day, because the Aston Martin really were unable to show where they are. Their decent pace ran away from them. That decent pace they've always had ran away from them. And this is the first double podium for Mercedes this season. And that might be the first of many that will come if the Mercedes team are able to get themselves right in the space they need to put themselves and start turning out beautiful times and beautiful racing. But from what we've seen from the Mercedes, I think they have started growing in the right direction. The next few races will determine where they will be this season. And this is how the podium ended. Max Verstappen leading the pack with 23 seconds. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell, Sergio Perez really struggled today. He was unable to keep the same pace that his teammate was doing. He was unable to go into the lap times that teammate was going into. It was a real struggle for him. Coming fifth to Carlos Sainz, 2 Aston Martin came 6th and 7th, Stroll and Alonso. Ocon came 8th. Zhou Guanyu of the Alfa Romeo got 2 points. That is beautiful for them, man. Pierre Gasly came 10th. That was a beautiful race for damage limitation for the Alpine team. Finishing 4th yesterday, but because of the 2 penalties, he was relegated to 10th. He ended where he started from. God, guys, that's crazy. Started 10th and he ended 10th. Oh, God. That was a beautiful race with George Russell gaining 9 positions. That was massive. But all greatness to Lewis Hamilton having the driver of the day. And let's see if Mercedes can turn it up and keep giving Red Bull a run for their money. And let's see how 2024 will be if the Mercedes team can charge up and come after the Red Bull. Because I can tell you, this Red Bull, they have gone. They are ahead. And let's see what Aston Martin will do in this 2 weeks before we meet in Canada to eke up their team and work on their race pace and give us a good racing and also challenge the Red Bull. And let's see if Ferrari would be able to come up with something magic, not something tragical that they've been coming up with. Let's see if they can do something magical, something beautiful. Don't let me say another cow. No more cows. But it's all still Red Bull racing. Max Verstappen winning the race. Great racing. Thanks for always being with us. We love you. Please subscribe, like, comment. Tell us what you want us to talk about. You want us to analyze the race. You want us to analyze the drivers. You want us to talk about the car, the setup, the things you want us to identify, to analyze for you. We love you. Ciao.